I've tried every fad diet under the sun, keto, carnivore, you name it. But then I realized something most people miss. It's not the diet that you choose to go on that makes the difference. It's whether you actually adjust your diet and not go on a temporary diet for short-term gain or loss. Today, I'm breaking down a huge difference between the two, how I used a GLP-1 to find a sustainable, balanced diet to stick with that's been working for me at this point over 90 pounds down, and how to set yourself up for long-term success at the end of your weight loss journey. If you're tired of yo-yo dieting and trying to figure out what to do at the end of your weight loss journey to maintain the weight that you worked so hard to lose, this one's for you. Stick around. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Chris. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all things GLP-1, weight loss, and lifestyle changes to live a happier and healthier life. Thank you for tuning in. Glad that you're here with us. Today, we're going to talk about the difference between diet and a diet. I know that's kind of sounding weird as I say it. Kind of a weird guy anyway, but y'all bear with me, okay? I have a point to make here, and I think you're going to appreciate it. So we're going to talk about the difference between what a diet and a diet is, what your actual diet is, and we're going to go into some of the different kind of diets you can get on. And at the end, if you want to stick around for that, I'll kind of lay out what the best format of a diet is, and it's probably not what you think, but it may be a little bit more vague than you want. So we'll go ahead and get into it without any further ado. All right, in the context of diet, the way that I'm going to approach this conversation, let's create a base definition for what we're talking about. It's the sum total of food and drink that a person habitually or regularly consumes over time. In other words, it's the pattern or the routine of what someone eats or drinks on a daily or weekly basis. Very simple. It's your current diet, what you're currently eating, or what you're going to adjust, and that's going to be your everyday, normal, average diet of what you're going to be consuming. Not the diet or a diet you're going to be going on to hit your weight loss goals. Again, going to get into that in just a second. This diet, this format, this context of diet that I'm speaking of is comprised of a few things. The types of food and beverages, portion sizes, frequency of meals and snacks, nutritional composition like your macros, and any specific restrictions, preferences, or cultural ethical choices that make up your all-in-all diet. It's your overall habitual way of eating. It's long-term, it's ongoing. It's not one of these temporary things, which is a diet that we'll get into. And when you zoom out and take a look at all the things you're already doing, that's what your diet is. It's what you're, again, already doing on a regular basis. And if you don't change anything, that's going to be what you're doing long-term during or after your weight loss journey. So again, that's what we want to tweak more so. But we're going to talk about a diet now. What is a diet? Well, a diet is a temporary or short-term change to your existing diet. It's not a long-term change or adjustment. I'm going on a diet. You know, when people say, oh, I'm going to go on a diet, that's what we're referring to with this. It's not, I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to go on a diet. I have to keep doing the air quotes. I feel like Chris Farley from Saturday Night Live.
I don't look comfortable on camera. I'm not savvy. I don't understand what's going on in the news.
But usually whenever you've reached your goal or you just get tired of doing it, you give up the diet, the a diet or whatever, and you just go back to your regular diet without making any substantial long-term impactful changes that you're going to carry out throughout. That's what we're talking about, the difference between the two, because it's like something being on sale and something being for sale. Those are two different things. You go into a retail store, everything's for sale. You can buy anything in there, but not everything is on a sale. See, there's slightly different verbiage, but they mean two totally different things. There's really not a whole lot more to get into for what just a normal diet is, what the diet consists of or makes up or examples or anything like that. But I do want to talk about a diet when we're going to go on that diet, that a diet. Again, I know it sounds weird me wording it that way. Please just bear with me. I think you guys are following me. I hope so anyway. I'll probably try to put some graphics on the screen that help me make more sense and not look so goofy.
What an idiot. Oh, what a loser.
So getting into some examples of or categories of a diet, we've got weight loss diets that are short-term changes to reduce caloric intake in order to lose weight. Then you got weight gain diets, which are short-term changes to increase the caloric intake in order to gain weight, which most of us are probably not on that one. You've got your crash diet, which is an extreme version of a weight loss or weight gain diet, extremely short-term and not sustainable, usually very unhealthy. You're looking for quick results when you're doing that. Then you got your fad diets. These are the ones with names, the ones that are very popular. From time to time, popularity rises and falls as things change. You got your keto, your carnivore, your juice cleanse, your paleo, your Atkins, your Mediterranean, so on and so forth. These are often short-term, although many people will try to make it long-term. Some people are actually successful at that. Some people are long-term keto folks, and sometimes you find people that are long-term carnivore people, and they've been able to stick with it, and it works for them. But then it's no longer a diet. That now has become their diet, their long-term diet. They can morph, and they can change, and they can adjust to that. But a lot of times we get on these temporary diets to hit our goals, but we haven't actually made changes to our diet, and we won't adopt those after we get off our weight loss journey. So then we just go right back to ballooning up. So the goal here that I want to talk about is what we want to do while on a GLP-1, taking advantage of this tool. This, of course, leads me to what is the best diet to be on, especially while on a GLP-1. Well, it's very simple. It's whichever one you can stick to, whichever one that you can see being a long-term sustainable diet that you like, you can stick to, and most of all is effective. If you change up your diet and add protein, but you don't cut back on calories, yay for the protein, but the calories are just going to make you gain weight. It's got to encompass all that. You got to create a calorie deficit. You got to add more protein into your diet. I'm saying you have to. I mean, that's the general consensus most people push for. I would definitely say that's accurate. I'm not going to tell you where fat and carbs are supposed to be. I can't tell you what diet or which fad diet is going to be best for you or how to adjust your current diet. I don't know what your current diet looks like. I've had a couple people ask me, and let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, just so I can get some feedback. But I've had a couple people ask me to do like what I eat in a day or look at a week of menus that I create and meal plan and meal prep and all that stuff. So if that's something you'd be interested in, let me know. I've kind of thought about doing it, but I was like, nobody really wants to know any of that. But if you do, let me know, and I'll come up with something for that. But back to the diet, you want to take advantage of the GLP-1, silencing the food noise, cutting back on your appetite, the appetite suppression that it does for you, along with all the myriad of other things as well. But you want to take this opportunity to use this tool to start adjusting your everyday diet. That's my advice. That's my suggestion anyway. Again, this whole video may just, not be worth anything to anybody but me. But again, to me, I don't want to go on a temporary diet, hit my weight loss goal, and then go, okay, now what do I do? No, I want to adjust my diet because now I have a tool that can help me do it so that hopefully when I get to the end, I won't need to rely on that tool quite as much. I can either get off the GLP-1 or I can lower my dose and stay on it where it's not doing as heavy of a lifting and it's relying more on me to do my part. But I've educated myself and I've gotten accustomed to something different. I've made changes in my shopping habits, my buying habits, my going out to eat choice habits, of what I'm going to pick off the menu and what I meal prep and meal plan if I'm still doing that, which I enjoy doing that. I think that's a great way to stick to whatever plan and to stick to your goals. So that's something I'll probably do long-term anyway, but I want to adjust my daily diet and use the GLP-1 as a tool, as opposed to just cutting back on the calories and cutting this out and cutting that out and no carbs and this and that. Because believe me, baby, when I get off this diet and when I get off this weight loss journey, I'm eating some carbs. So I'm going ahead and doing it now. I know there's a lot of people out there that loves them some pizza. Eat some pizza, but figure out how that can work into your diet. Maybe you don't eat as much pizza as you used to. Or maybe if you know you're going to have pizza for dinner, cut back on your breakfast or lunch to have the calories to roll with it. Or if you know you're going to go over your calories that day because you're including pizza, maybe cut back a little bit here and a little bit there on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. So then Friday, you don't have to starve yourself until you get your pizza. You can enjoy every single day and just make minor itty bitty changes along the way. Everything is doable if you look at it from, again, zoomed out, big picture, and plan accordingly. So my goal when I got started on the GLP-1 was to start implementing the diets that I've already researched, make the adjustments that I've found. Again, not a fad diet, but okay, increase my protein, decrease my fat, Don't go heavy with carbs. Cut those back a little bit. Be a little bit more responsible with what kind of carbs I put in my body as well. So again, a lot of research that I did to kind of figure out where things were going to fall for me in my diet, what was going to work for me, what I can stick with. And I started implementing those even before I got on my GLP-1. I hit the ground running when I got my first injection. So I was already ready to go. And I think that's a large part of what has led to me to have the kind of success that I've had. Not that I've had the most amazing success on a GLP-1 ever, but I've definitely hit the ground running, made a lot of success. And I'm very proud of that, but it was hard work. But again, I was prepared before I took my first injection. I started getting educated, doing the research, figuring out everything I needed to do that was going to work for me. And I hope that's what you're doing. And if you've already started, it's not too late to make the adjustments. You can still go out there and watch my channel, other people's channels, read a book, look up, use the AI, whatever, find some resources and start looking into different ways to adjust your diet to get the maximum return on your investment. We talked about a return on investment the other day on another video. If you hadn't seen that one, you might want to go check that one out, because again, you're probably putting a lot of work in. You want to get that return. You want to get the bang for your buck for everything that you're doing and all the adjustments that you're making. So little by little, as I've created my calorie deficit, changed my diet, long term, I've been slowly starting to increase my calories as I've been going to the gym more, and I've been making adjustments more, because at the end of my weight loss journey, like it's ever really going to end, I guess. But at the end of my weight loss journey, I don't want to have a huge calorie deficit, because I don't want to maintain that forever. I want to obviously build my calories up where I can have as many calories as possible, where I'm not restricted, and still maintain my weight. And the only way to do that is to start building more muscle, creating that deficit now to kind of get there and get everything to balance out, creating the muscle, cutting back on the calories. And once those kind of overlap, and I need more calories because I have more muscle and I'm losing weight too fast, I'm like, okay, I need to start increasing my calories again. And then hopefully I'll find a sweet spot. I don't know what that's going to look like exactly. I can't tell you what it's going to look like for you exactly. And again, some of you may not want to go to the gym. You may not want to build muscle, but maintain what you've got. We've talked about that before, and I'll go into more depth in some of that stuff as well in another video. But again, the more muscle you have on you, the more calories you burn on a daily basis by moving or just resting. So why not build them? Why not maintain what you've got, right? So for me, again, I want to get my calories back up to an acceptable level, whatever that may be for the weight that I want to maintain. My goal weight, I started at 377. My goal weight is around 180. Somewhere between 180 and 200. I think between going to the gym and getting in better shape, 180 to 200 is probably not a bad place to be. I would still probably like to lean closer to the 180 side, of course, but we'll see what happens when we get there. That's what's working for me. That's what I hit the ground running with. That was my idea from the jump of like how I was going to implement the changes that I wanted to make in my life to hit the goals that I wanted to hit. That's not a one size fits all. That's what I was saying, that this is the best diet for you, is the one that works. So what I did may not work for you. Your other favorite content creators out there, they may say, I've got the best diet for you. Maybe, it is all person to person. It's all very personal about what you like and don't like. If you tell me to go on a peanut butter diet, I can't go on a peanut butter diet because I don't really care for peanut butter that much. You with me? So everybody's got their own thing. Find the diet that works for you. Make your adjustments. I'm not trying to sell you on any one specific thing other than you've got to create a calorie deficit if you're going to lose weight. That's the law of thermodynamics. You cannot fight that. You have to create a calorie deficit. And I highly, highly, highly recommend increasing your protein to 0.8 to 1 gram per ideal body weight. Again, I know that's kind of controversial in certain circles, but as much as I've looked up, that seems to be pretty consistent across people who've been successful on weight loss journeys, on muscle building and getting in shape. That's solid because, again, protein makes you feel fuller faster. It sticks around longer. So your satiety is there. It makes you not want to eat as much. That's always a win, right? And it also fuels your body for muscle recovery, muscle growth, if you are utilizing and trying to grow your muscles. It is the building block for that. Highly, highly recommend. Look, while I'm not trying to start a battle royale down in the comment section, I would like for you to comment if you've got a diet that works for you, the changes that you've made that's worked for you, or maybe you think Chris has no idea what he's talking about, you can let me know that down there in the comments too. I'm okay with that. I've had people come at me a couple of times saying, hey, you might want to tweak this idea, or you might be a little off on this idea. And I'm sure I am. And it's okay. As an adult, part of being a successful, mature adult is being able to admit when you're wrong and accept that maybe what you thought was the truth isn't the truth, and you can make adjustments along the way. I'm okay with that. Perfectly fine. Call me out all you want. But I would love to see what's working for you guys. Maybe also what's not working for you guys that you had to remove from your diet. So if you want to throw those down in the comments below, that would be really, really cool. Not so much for me, but for everyone else, for other people. But I promise you, I will look at it and I will probably steal some stuff from you. You know, Frankenstein my monster as well. Like I tell you guys to do all the time. Take bits and pieces of what worked for others and see what works for you. I'm not opposed to changing my diet up. Hit me up in the comments. Look, if you're serious about making the most you can on this GLP-1 journey, I highly recommend watching this video next. I'm a little biased. What can I say? But whatever you do, I do hope you make the most of this GLP-1 journey and using the tool to the best of its ability to get you where you need to be. Guys, go out there, conquer the scale. Never let the scale conquer you. We'll see you on the next one.